Imagine working for a company for months, doing your job every single day, but not getting paid. 1 month goes by, then 2 months, then 3, and eventually your salary is 5 months late. This is not a story I heard from someone else. This happened to me. I didn't quit my job because I didn't want to work. I lost my job because my employer stopped paying me on time. And now, in August 2026, I've been unemployed for an entire year. So, what happened? And why has it been so difficult for me to find another job? That's what I want to talk about in today's video. Hi everyone, it's so nice to see you again. I'm Crystal from Nanjing, China. In my previous videos, many of you have been wondering about one thing. Crystal, you've been working as a dance teacher for so many years, and that's a skill. So how did you end up unemployed? To be honest, I used to think the same way. But something happened that made me lose my job. So let me take you back to where this all started. Before I became unemployed, I had been working as a dance teacher for many years. Teaching dance was something I was familiar with. It was a skill I had developed over time, and I actually enjoyed working with my students. But eventually, I decided to try something different. I found a job at an education and training company. At the beginning, everything seemed quite normal. I went to work every day, did what I was supposed to do, and I honestly thought I had found another job that I could stay with for a while. But after about 2 months, something started to change. My salary wasn't paid on time. At first, I didn't think too much about it. I thought maybe the company was having some temporary cash flow problems. You know, sometimes companies have difficult months. So I told myself, it's probably okay. They will pay me soon. But then the next month came, and I still hadn't received my salary. And then another month passed. At that point, I started to feel uncomfortable. When you have a job, you don't immediately want to believe that your company is in serious trouble. You want to believe that things will get better. You also don't want to lose your job. So I kept working, but the problem didn't go away. 1 month became 2 months. 2 months became 3. And eventually, some of my salary was delayed for as long as 5 months. At first, you are patient, then you become worried, then you become frustrated, and eventually, you start asking yourself, how long can I actually keep doing this? When a company doesn't pay you on time, you are not just missing a number on a bank statement, you are missing the money you need to live your life. And for me, this went on for a long time. I kept hoping things would improve. I kept hoping the company would eventually get back on track. But eventually, I realized that I couldn't keep waiting forever. Because working without knowing when you are going to be paid is not really a sustainable job. So that's when I made a difficult decision to leave. Not because I didn't want to work, not because I was tired of working, and not because I thought I was too good for the job. I left because I needed to find a way to support myself. I thought I had work experience, I had a skill, I was willing to work, and it is easier to find next job. But I was wrong. When I actually started looking for another job, I realized that the market had changed quite a lot, and there were several reasons for that. China's birth rate has been declining for years, which means that there are simply fewer children entering schools and fewer children participating in extracurricular activities. And for businesses that depend on children, this has become a very serious problem. But there is another side to this story. For many families, making money has become much harder than it used to be. When household income feels uncertain, people naturally start thinking more carefully about where they spend their money. In China, academic subjects are still seen as much more important for a child's future. Chinese, mathematics, English, science, these subjects are directly connected to school exams and eventually university entrance exams. So when families have limited time and money, they often have to take a choice. They believe that their children need to keep up with their classmates, and if everyone else is studying more, they worry that their own child will fall behind. This is what people in China often described as involution. And the third reason is the entire industry was becoming more difficult. There were fewer positions available. There were more teachers competition for this position. And some schools preferred teachers who already had their own students or their own client bases. Others didn't want to hire new teachers at all. But then I started to realize something. My situation is not unique. A lot of young people in China are facing the same problem, especially recent university graduates. Some people graduate from college and find themselves unemployed almost immediately. They can't find jobs related to what they studied, so they have to change careers. Some even end up doing food delivery or other temporary jobs simply because they need an income. And for some young people, it's not that they don't try. They send outdoor dozens, sometimes even hundreds of resumes, but they don't get a single interview. And even when they finally find a job, the salary can be surprisingly low, while long working hours and overtime are very common. Some people get laid off and have to start looking for work all over again. Others decide to change careers completely. And because private sector jobs can feel so uncertain, many young people are trying to become civil servants or get jobs in public situations, but those positions can be incredibly competitive. Sometimes thousands of people are competing for just one position. So let's look at some of the latest numbers. In July 2026, China's youth unemployment rate for people aged 16 to 24, excluding those still in school, was 70.9%. For people aged 25 to 29, it was 7%. And at the same time, China is expected to have around 12.7 million university graduates in 2026. You can find that the Chinese people like to use chopsticks to make any food. Because we think chopsticks is very convenient than spoon or than fork. We prefer use chopsticks. Okay, the second one. The third one. Oh, sorry. Wow. That's a huge number of young people entering the job market. But the number of graduates doesn't automatically mean there are enough suitable jobs for them. And there's another problem, especially for women. In China, age can become a real obstacle when you are looking for a job. For women in particular, once you reach your 30s, some employers may see you as too old for certain positions. So even if you have years of experience and you are willing to work, you can still find yourself facing questions about your age, your family, or whether you are going to have children. Now it's all done, so I need to cook this dish. And if you are laid off in your 30s or beyond, finding another job can become much harder. So when I look at what's happening around me, I realize that my story is really just one small example of a much bigger problem. And that made me start asking myself, if I can't find a stable job with my experience, what am I supposed to do next? This question stayed with me for a very long time. There were so many nights when I just couldn't fall asleep. I was drawing in anxiety for months. My hair was falling out in clumps, and I started noticing more and more gray hair on my head. But then I thought to myself, I still have English. I've been teaching myself English for years, and I can actually speak it. So, following my friend's advice and with nothing to lose, I decided to give YouTube a try. I wanted to share my story with the world and maybe, just maybe, tell someone out there, don't give up. So, dear friends, if you are going through tough times right now, remember it's only temporary. There's an ancient Chinese proverb that goes, when the car reaches the mountain, there must be a way through. So hold on and never give up. At the same time, keeping studying English and practicing your speaking skills every single day. In time, you will find your own direction. Stay strong, don't lose heart, and never give up on yourself. And And I'm truly thankful to YouTube for giving me a second chance to rebuild myself and share my journey with the world. I wish I could keep moving forward and grow more on this platform. Thank you so much, and big thanks to all my viewers for your constant support.